right, this video, I'm really not sure where it's going to take us on this quick story we're going to give you, but I'm Steve, and I'm sitting in my house in outside of Atlanta that we may have had a buyer for today. The first person to come by and look at it fell in love with it, like my wife and I have been, and like my mother has been the last few years. But I'm with Shakir, and Shakir knows my mother. Shakir's 38 years old, married with two kids, right? Or four kids. Four kids.
Yeah.
And my mother was 73 up until Sunday, and they were pretty much the best of friends, and she thought the absolute world of Shakir. And Shakir was her second son, and my wife's looking over at the toilet bowl, running water. But anyway, so we got that distraction going on. But my mother absolutely loved him, and
I loved her.
And he loved her, so they had this wonderful friendship. He was her handyman, and he basically took care of all of her needs. And I was 530 miles away, and I talked to her every day because that was her rules. I have to talk to her every day. Because I guess she knew eventually this day would come, even though she was in decent enough health that her death on Sunday morning was unexpected.
Yeah.
But on Saturday, I had some trouble at the job, and I couldn't talk to her for very long. And I called her, and I told her it's going to be a late night. I won't have any time to talk to you, and I love you, and you're still alive, and I'll talk to you whenever. She wasn't expected to die or anything, but I didn't talk to her again. And that morning, after having gone to bed really late at night, that morning at 4 a.m., I was sleeping solidly, and all of a sudden I had a jolt of something, and I didn't know what it was, a jolt, a shock, and I woke up instantaneously, and I didn't know where I was, but I was fully conscious. I'm like, where am I? And I'm like, I'm at home, I'm in bed, I'm in Louisiana, my wife's next to me, she's okay, I'm okay. I'm like, what day is it? Am I late for work? And I'm like, no, there's no lights outside. The sun's not even starting to rise. And it's 4 a.m. And I just woke up crazy. And I'm like, I can go back to sleep. Nothing's wrong. But I couldn't get back to sleep. So then I popped on the phone. I watched YouTube. About 6 or 8 o'clock in the morning, things are rolling. I said, I'm going to call my mom at 8 o'clock. No, 8 o'clock's too early. She sleeps in too late. I'll wake her up. I'm not going to wake her up because, she's groggy when I talk to her and it's just no fun. So I'll wait. So I called her at 12:14. She didn't answer, which is weird. She didn't call me back, which is weird. But I was super tired from working all day and night the night before. I took a long nap. My wife and I were supposed to work on some projects at the house, but we couldn't because I was sleeping, and she let me sleep till about 4 or 5. At which time I started calling my mom again at like 6:14, 6:15, 6:16, whatever time. And I called her once on the house phone, once on the cell, once on the house, and I couldn't reach her, and I knew something was wrong because she hadn't called me back. So I called Shakir, and I told him that I think something's wrong with my mom, and I was wondering if you could check on her. And he said, of course I will. I'll be over there in 3 minutes or whatever. And so he went over. He said, the lights are all out. And I said, well, if the lights are all out, she's either gone to bed like early all day and left the lights out, or something's wrong. And he's like, okay, well, I can't find the key. She had a key on the porch. I can't find the key.
Right, that was when I started flipping all of the chairs over on the porch. I had to flip, because I know she told me that the key was taped under something in a chair. So I thought that it was taped under a chair. But before I started to, after I flipped over the chairs, I brought the paper over that she gave me with the information for the car. So I went to the car first. I went to the car next and punched the code in, pushed the garage open. And the thing that I specifically remember with her was she said, if the door is locked, I'm home. To get inside the house. If the door is unlocked, I'm not home. Because I use that to get in when I come home, from wherever I'm going. And that was when, I knew that something was wrong. That was when I knew. Stephen probably knew a little bit earlier than I did, but that recap from when I when she told me that if that door is locked, I'm home, that was what, had me a little shook up.
So we were talking, and he's like, I'm going to break the door down, right?
Yep.
And I said, well, hold on. I said, first of all, I'm thinking he's big and strong, but these doors are pretty strong, and he might kind of hurt his shoulder or something. I'm like, let's break a back door or a back window if we have to. But before we do that, she's probably needed help all day long, and there's no saving her at this time if there's something wrong, and the lights are already out. So let's keep looking for the key, but let's call who?
911.
So let's call 911 and let them know so you don't get arrested for breaking into a house.
Right.
That'll be hard to explain.
Yeah.
And one thing could lead to the other, and it could be disastrous because really, what 38-year-old black man is going to a 73-year-old white woman's house to make sure she's okay?
Exactly.
So I'm like,
especially in this neighborhood.
yeah, I'm like, let's try to explain this ahead of time. Let's slow it down a little bit. She's either gone or there's no saving her now. Let's hold on. And I was fearful, I was sad. I'm not sad now. It's been a few days. I've been through my grief. I mean, I'm sad, of course, but we've both been bawling our eyes out.
Yeah.
But so we went in there, and he was on the phone with 911, and I guess he did resuscitations and everything.
Yeah.
But he comes back out and calls me, and he says, she's not here. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, not in the house and she's gone somewhere? Or he says, she's not here. I said, and she's not with us. He's like, she's not with us. So anyway, thank you for being there. We talked like last year, didn't we, or earlier this year, that this day would come?
Yeah.
And you were there for me, and you were there for her. You were always there for her.
Yeah.
And she loved you big time, and she always talked about you.
I love her. Yeah.
So she was interested in astrology, and she called me this last week. She says, you got to call Shakir for me and talk to him about, he needs to call me so I could, you need to get, want to talk to me about the stuff I need to talk to him about. And I'm thinking, he'll talk to you about it. But I didn't get a chance to talk to her because my wife said, bring me home something yummy to eat. So I was cruising all around these places, trying to find some good food to take her home. And I struck out at my shrimp fried rice place where I get my lunch. And then I went to my Chinese place near the house, which I don't like going to. I struck out there because I wasn't going to try to give them an order. I just went home. I missed calling Shakir. But she said, don't tell him directly that you want him to call me. And I said, it won't matter. I'm going to have a natural conversation with Shakir, and it'll flow fine, and he'll call your ass. You'll be okay. It's going to be okay. So I said, I just haven't had time. I wanted to devote my focus to talking to Shakir rather than running in these fast food places. But that was okay because she called Shakir and got him involved.
Yeah, a little bit right after, just close to right after you talked to her. So, I guess she didn't believe that you was going to call me anyway.
Yeah.
She's like, let me just go ahead and call him. Whether he, going to call me or not going to call me, I'm going to call him. So yeah, I talked to her after that. That was the last time that I talked to her, but we had a really in-depth conversation, especially about this astrology thing and about tarot and stuff like that. But more or less, it was what we touched on when it came to something that she told me that gave me more of a belief in the system that she had going on with astrology. And she said the last time that I was here with her, the time before last, she said, you're going to go on a spiritual journey, like a new spiritual journey. And, it threw me through a loop because I told her, I just talked to my wife about that last night. Like, how do you know that? She was like, it's just, it says it here, like right here in this time to this time frame, within this month, this is what you're going to be doing. And, it tripped me out. So of course I was a little bit more interested in it then, and of course interested in what she was going to tell me next. So I started to ask more questions and give her more information about who I was as an individual. And That was Saturday evening, around 5 something. That was the last time I talked to her.
So when we got here, we started trying to figure everything out, and eventually, I don't know when the call came in, but we had to go run some errands and get some stuff and check on things or whatever we did. Deanna, my wife, said there's a message on the answer machine. And don't worry, I'm not going to tell you that my mother called me from the grave on the answer machine. But I will tell you this. I got the number down and it was Jen, and I wrote it down, the number, and I called Jen back. I said, Jen, hello, I don't know how you know my mother, but my mother had an unexpected death on Sunday, and blah, 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 blah. And you know what Jen said? Jen said, because she's a psychic medium, which a lot of people won't believe in or whatever, but it doesn't matter if you don't believe it or know it. I'm just going to tell you what Jen said. Jen said, your mother died at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is when the hell I woke up. And you also woke up at the same time, didn't you?
Yeah, that was what I was about to say. I didn't want to interrupt you while you was talking about it. Yes. When I woke up, now I'm a night owl anyway, and I stayed up, but then I went to sleep. I went to sleep around 1 in the morning. And usually if I go to sleep at 1 in the morning, I'm getting up when my kids get up for school, like around 6:30, 7 o'clock. But I got up, and it wasn't a jolt, but it was a wake. Like basically something within me wanted me to wake up and express myself. And this was around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And when I got up, I started talking to my wife about some things that I had, some issues with within our relationship, and just things that I wanted to talk about. And I guess I didn't get more in depth with what I wanted to talk about, but as the conversation went on and on, it was like the energies within me at 4 o'clock in the morning was flowing, and I knew exactly what to say and how to say it. And I talked to about 5:30 in the morning, and then I went back to sleep for an hour for my kids to, no, because this was Sunday. They didn't even have school. So, yeah, no. When I went to sleep, that was when I got up around, I can't even remember what time. After I went to sleep at 5:30, but yeah, I definitely woke up, and I never wake up around that time, just like that, especially around that time, waking up, and I didn't notice those things until right before I had the conversation with you about what you went. Yes.
So when I was talking to Jen, she said, your mother died at 4 o'clock, and she's showing me her heart, because we didn't know if she died of a stroke or heart. The coroner said she collapsed. It didn't look like she fell. So she said, your mother's pointing to her heart. It was 4 a.m. She went through you. She forced her energy through you that night. What, darling? What are you helping me with? I'm sorry. My wife was moving her shirt, and I thought she was giving me a signal on something that I forgot in the story.
No, just fixing my
shirt.
shirt.
Her shirt. So, so Jen also said a lot of people transfer slowly and kind of have a life review. She said your mother got over there and she's just freaking ripping and running already. And then she also said, did your mother like music a bunch? And he'll attest to it. They were always talking about music lately. And my mom didn't give a flip about music, really. I mean, some music, some records from vinyl from back in the 70s, just, some different things. But she was hot into music, huh?
I think she sent me a big country list, and she knew I don't like country.
Really? She sent it to you anyway?
Yeah, I think she did. I'm not sure. I can't remember what she said. She was like, I got a list for you to listen to. I think it's like 3 different emails.
But it's more than just country.
No. It's
Simon and Garfunkel and
Queen. I think the one email that she sent has like strictly just all country.
That's weird.
In it. I didn't know. But the other stuff, I think it is Simon and Garfunkel and all of that.
So Jen, on the phone, she said, did your mother really like music a whole bunch? And I'm like, yeah, a lot lately. And she said, man, your mother is loving the music. And, people have these questions about what goes on that side. What it is, I think, is just anything that's ever been created, as far as books or music, has that energy imprint that a spirit can access, like the Akashic Records type of thing. But then also they can manifest things as well, create things themselves in that plane or whatever. But anyway, so Jen said stuff that just, she's not making it up. She's not bogus. She's like, she died at 4 o'clock. She passed her energy through you. She went quick. She's showing you the heart, and she's loving the music. And then I said, well, who was there to greet her? And she said, and this is typical of my mom because she's had a difficult life and things. She said she doesn't want to talk about that. And then a few minutes later, she said, and then on that note, she's going on to do something else, because I guess she was basically saying, you got this, you can handle this, you got a lot of work to do, don't worry about it. So that's it. But anyway, thank you. Thank you very much for being there for my mom.
Yeah, I mean,
she loved the hell out of you.
Definitely a given. Like, you know, everything that I've experienced with her was definitely great. I never expected, you know, us to be drawn as close as we were. And she actually gave me some insight on, you know, just, you know, my character as a person, but being more of an understanding person too with, you know, different types of situations. You know what I mean? And, you know, she reminded me a lot of my mom, you know, so that's probably why I was able to handle her.
Yeah, she was difficult. She was definitely difficult. She was an acquired taste, and she was difficult. You were one of her two best friends she's had in the last number of years in her life. And she used to tell me I can't talk to her now because she's watching The View, or I can't talk to her now because something's coming on YouTube live that she wants to see. And then it was, oh, Shakir's here, or Shakir's almost here. So then I would joke with her, damn, you need to tell Shakir he's cutting into our time
she
together.
She did tell me that. That's funny. I told her, I said, I don't want to do that. I said,
it was just a joke.
I was like, you need to let him know
it was totally
that
a joke.
That is not my intention.
Yeah.
And she laughed about that.
Yeah. So
she did tell me that.
I would give her hell about that. I'm like, damn, if it's not The View and if it's not the YouTube live, damn, it's Shakir. Now I got to compete with Shakir. It was totally always a joke. And I think she realized that too. And anyway, thanks, Shakir. Big hug to you, buddy.
Oh, yeah, man.
Hey, big hug to you. Mask free, huh?
Right.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Deanna, you can cut that. Appreciate you, Deanna.
Thanks.